It is my belief that integrity in state government is paramount in moving Missouri forward. Citizens must have trust in their elected officials. And ending any type of perception that our government is for sale in the state capitol must be our top priority this session. I think the big issue that erodes trust in our government is the amount of money in the system. For that reason, I'm sponsoring House Bill 1322, and that will reinstate campaign finance limits in our state. As you know, Missouri voters imposed the limits in 1994 with 73.9% support. Legislation repealing limits passed the House of Representatives with just one vote to spare during the waning hours of the 2008 legislative session. I believe the lack of limits has been harmful to our system, and this fact is well documented in recent press articles. It is imperative that we follow the people's wishes and reinstate the limits. So what my bill would contain is a few things. First, it would limit campaign donations from any person other than the candidate in one election to candidates for statewide office at $2,000, for state senator $1,000, for state representative $500. Contribution limits for local candidates' donations are based on population and specified in the bill. Mr. Chairman and committee, these are a bit different from where they were before. They're a little bit higher, and I guess for whatever it's worth, I think this committee can go through and look at other proposals and see if those are the right limits. I think limits, more than anything else, besides these specific numbers, are the most important part. It would also limit donations made or accepted by political party committees to $2,000 for statewide candidates, $1,000 for state senator, $500 for state representatives. It will require, so that reinstates limits, but there's also another provision, and I think this provision, not only these limits important, but this provision is important, so we don't go back to what we had before. It will establish a penalty payable to the Missouri Ethics Commission of $1,000 for any violation of campaign contribution limits by any committee that requires a candidate to return the allowable contribution. So there's going to be a real penalty in there as well. Well, there's another provision which I think is important. Maybe I didn't add it here in this bill. It will be part of another bill I know Representative Fluke and Representative Kander has in there that would also ban committee-to-committee transfers, which will make sure that we go directly. I think that's an important provision if we get any type of contribution limit back. There's been examples in this legislature of times where a very large campaign donation has come coincidentally the same time legislation was moved. I do not believe there's anyone who broke the law or anything like that. I believe that the fact that we don't have limits raises too many questions. And when we're talking about whether it's this or other proposals, we need to reinstate what the people of Missouri wants to do so they have that trust level that contributions are not affecting our legislation.
Limits. We've got other bills out there from Representative Fluke and Representative Kander, and certainly mine doesn't cure all the ills, but I think structurally it can make a big difference. And it's built on a few pillars, and here are those pillars. First and foremost, it eliminates lobbyist meals and gifts. And to me, it's just a common sense thing, and I come as a sinner, not necessarily a saint, because I, like many of you, have accepted them. And I don't think anyone that I know of has done anything unethical or illegal with regards to that, but certainly the perception is not good. For example, I could go and make a phone call and get tickets to a Cardinals game for me and my family whenever I want. I doubt many people in my district would have that same ability. And just because we happen to serve in the General Assembly, I don't think that gives us an inherent right to be able to do that. As far as meals, you all are well aware that we get a per diem, and the taxpayers are paying for our food. So why would it be necessary or mandated or reasonable that the lobbyists have to pay for our meals? And I think the average citizen in our district would agree with me. Second thing, in this bill would prevent members from going from legislator to lobbyist. It would provide a break. It's similar to the break that they have on the federal level, and this bill would be 180 days. It's a starting point. I know there's a lot of discussion around the building of is it reasonable for us to dictate what people can and cannot do when they leave the legislature. I think that's a reasonable discussion to have, but I think it's important that we talk about it. It would prohibit the perception that the governor or anybody in the executive branch could buy your votes. I mean, we had recent instance last year where staff from the governor's office was making insinuations that if you voted a certain way, there would be professional opportunities in the future. At best, that's unethical, and at worst, it's illegal. And my bill would prevent members from the General Assembly to being appointed to jobs until they've left the General Assembly for 180 days. In this bill would prevent the perception that people who give lots of money can get on any board or any commission that they'd like. It prohibits, what it would do is if you're appointed by the governor, first and foremost, you'd have to have disclosure of what that person is given. And second, if approved by the Senate, they'd have to return the contribution. And so I think this bill is a good starting point. Like Representative voted, it doesn't fix all the ills, but I certainly think it merits your consideration. I hope many of the provisions that you look at in this committee, Mr. Chairman, that your final product will include some of these provisions. There's limits on the federal level, but the cost of running a campaign on the federal level has skyrocketed. And what you've seen is situations where you've got these MoveOn.org groups and these SWIPO Veterans for Truth groups. The money is still going to get in the process. It's just not accountable to anybody, and it's not transparent. I think the system that we've got is not perfect, but it's certainly better than the old system. You know, I don't think anyone here on this committee is going to change their vote for a $30 steak dinner.
I agree.
But I do think it's gotten out of control. I mean, in the past, if you had $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 worth of gifts and meals, it was I wouldn't say average, but probably on the high side average. Now you've got people over $10,000. So what used to be a concern, I think now is a problem. And I think it's something that the average citizen, if you talk to them, they'd say, you know what, that makes sense. And another note on it, as far as lobbyist meals and lobbyist gifts and the difference between, you know, why is one thing acceptable for a big contribution but a $30 steak isn't? I think for a couple reasons. One, it's apples to oranges, but two, if you take I believe lobbyist meals and lobbyist gifts are more of a personal benefit. And let me tell you how. If I wanted to take my wife and my 2 kids to a game and go out to dinner, I could have a lobbyist pay for it. That's a personal benefit. However, if I wanted to do the same thing, I couldn't just pay for it out of my campaign funds. So I think when you look at lobbyist meals and gifts, it's just a personal benefit that we shouldn't necessarily just feel like we're entitled to.